Hello, everybody. Welcome to this webinar where we'll be talking about make reading an enjoyable experience. So for those of you that don't know me, my name is Audrey, and I'm the founder of Magnificent Kids, where you probably saw this information about today's webinar. So welcome to everybody that's taking the time to be here today, and I hope that you're going to find it fruitful. And I just want to ask you just to keep your cameras turned off and your microphones muted for the duration of this. I'm also going to turn off my camera so that we can focus on the presentation and what the information that we're going to share. So throughout this time, I'm also going to share some other information with you where I'll send links in the chat that you can go look at the different information that I'm sharing with you. And then there will also be a recording available afterwards that you can have a look at. I will send you the information for that as well. So thank you for being here today. And I'm going to switch off my video now. And then we can focus on the presentation and what I want to share with you today. So the topic for today is make reading an enjoyable experience. So many times we're trying to teach children to read, but they don't enjoy the experience. And that is what we want to change today. So we're going to look at a few things, and I'm going to go through them quite fast, but if it's possible for you to take notes, you're welcome to do so. But like I said, it is going to be available as a recording afterwards as well. So you're welcome to watch the recording again. Right. So we're going to start off with effective strategies in supporting your child's reading development. So this can be a very rewarding journey. So first of all, we're going to look at how to create a reading-friendly environment. Now, the important thing is for kids to have access to books. Ensure a variety of age-appropriate books that are easily accessible. You can set up a cozy, inviting space for reading. And then also limit the distractions. So try to create a quiet, distraction-free zone for reading. Incorporate daily reading. Read aloud. Regularly read aloud to your child to model fluent reading. Shared reading. Take turns reading with your child to build confidence and fluency. And then also make it a daily routine. Incorporate reading into your daily routines. For example, read them bedtime stories. The next thing is to make reading interactive. So start off by asking them questions. Encourage comprehension by asking different questions about the story that you are reading. Predict the outcome. Have your child predict what might happen next in the story. This always helps them to use the imagination and sometimes even to think outside the box. And then discuss vocabulary. Pause to discuss new or interesting words. If you're reading to your child, or if they are reading and you find that they're battling with a word, pause there and discuss, how do you pronounce this word? What does this word mean? How can you use it in different sentences? Now, the next step is to use diverse reading materials. It's always important to keep things interesting because kids get bored if they do the same thing over and over. So first of all, let's look at a variety of genres. Introduce different genres, including fiction, non-fiction, poetry, and even informational text. I've even heard people saying that when they go on a journey, they read the billboards and ask their kids questions about the billboards. Interest-based reading. So make sure that you choose books related to your child's interests to keep them engaged. And then multimedia. Technology is so much part of our lives these days. Utilize ebooks, for example, audiobooks, and interactive reading apps. So I want to start off here by sharing a link with you with some audiobooks that we have available. So you can have a look in the chat. I've just shared the link there to our audiobooks. And these audiobooks specifically help children deal with various situations that they might face in their lives. For example, bullying or how to handle fear and many other topics. So you can have a look at that. So the next step in our strategies is to encourage writing and storytelling. So the minute kids start writing their own stories or different things that we're going to look at now, it also encourages them to read more. For example, you can encourage your child to keep a reading journal. So what does that mean? Write a journal about specific stuff that they are reading and what they find interesting in those books. Another factor is, or something else that you could do, is their own story creation. Help your child create their own stories and their own books. This is also a great idea to develop their imagination and their creativity. And there are so many different ways in how you can do this. And then something that has died off completely is writing letters. People don't write letters anymore, but encourage your children to write letters to family members or to friends and give them the freedom to write whatever they want in those letters. The next step is to set realistic goals and celebrate progress. Set up some reading goals, but make sure that they are achievable and encourage your child to stick to them. Another thing is to celebrate milestones. Celebrate completed books or improved reading skills with praise or even small rewards of your own choice. Be a role model. You can't teach your kids something that you don't do yourself. Demonstrate reading to them. Let your child see you reading regularly. And take time to discuss books with them. Share what you're reading and discuss books together. Another interesting strategy is to engage with educators and librarians. So the first thing is to collaborate with teachers. Work with your child's teacher to support their reading development. Take time for library visits. Regularly visit the library to explore new books and participate in reading programs. But there are so many books available on the internet as ebooks, and I'm going to share a few with you as well that you can have a look at for your children to enjoy at their own time. So look in the chat. I've created the link for the storybooks. Now, another important strategy is to encourage reading aloud by the child. Now, this is very, very important. If they hear what they read and they actually hear the sounds that they read, it's going to help them improve their reading skills. And a very important thing is with our reading program as well, part of the learning process is to say the words out loud, to say the letter sounds out loud. Take time to read together as a family. This way you will also encourage reading aloud by the children. And then a very important thing, make reading fun. There are different things or different ways in how you can do this. You can use reading games. Use word games and reading related activities to make learning fun. That's also one of the most important things we do in our reading program, is to encourage the children to have fun while they learn to read. You will see in our reading programs, if you have a look at that on the links I just shared with you, that we have a lot of activities and we do not spend one lesson teaching the kids to read without games. It's very, very important because they are having fun, and at the same time, it's also encouraging them to learn, but also to develop a love for reading. You can also start or join a children's book club to foster the social reading experience. So there are many different ways how you can make reading fun. The important thing is just to think outside the box. So these are some of the strategies that you can look at on how to make reading more fun for children. So now we're going to go to the next step, and we're going to look at some fun activities that you can do with your children. So the first thing is a reading nook creation. So you're going to create a cozy, inviting reading space at home or in your classroom if you're a teacher. So some of the materials you might need for this is pillows, blankets, fairy lights, bookshelves, or whatever you want to add to that. Now, the benefit of this is that there's a special reading spot that can make reading feel like a treat. The next thing is story time sessions. You can schedule regular story time sessions where you read aloud to the children. Now, the only materials you need there is a variety of books. But the benefits of this is that listening to stories can enhance the children's vocabulary and their comprehension. The next thing is to have a reading rewards chart. Well, all you have to do is to create a chart where children can earn stickers or stars for every book or chapter that they've read. The only materials that you need for this is chart paper, stickers, and markers. And the benefits of this is that visual progress can motivate children to read more. Isn't that exciting? Now, we spoke about book clubs for kids. It's very simple and easy to start a book club. You can start a book club where children can discuss the books that they've read. So you can decide on a book per week or per month, or however often you want to do it. And the only materials you need for that is books and discussion prompts. But the benefits of this is that sharing thoughts and opinions can make reading a social and engaging activity. Another fun activity, which I think is one of my favorites, is a themed reading day or themed reading days, where you dedicate certain days to specific themes or genres. Now, this is very simple and easy because the only materials you need there is books related to the themes. For example, space, animals, adventures, or any other theme. Now, the benefit of this is that introducing variety keeps reading exciting and broadens the children's horizons. Library scavenger hunt. Now, this might seem wrong because usually with scavenger hunt, there's a lot of noise involved. And I'm sure you guys know that in a library, you're supposed to be quiet. But this is actually very fun. The only thing that you need to do is you're going to give clues, and the kids need to go into the library and find the books based on the clues. The only materials you need there are the clues and library cards. But the benefits of this is that the children familiarize with library resources and it encourages exploration. Reading and crafting. Now you can combine reading with crafting, and there are so many different ways that you can do this. So after reading a book, depending on what the book is about, you're going to do a related craft project. For example, if you read something about animals, you can set up an animal farm, for example, or you can draw some animals or paint some animals based on the books you read. And the only materials you need there are the related books and craft supplies, and it reinforces the story, and it also allows for creative expression. Author study. Now, this would be more suitable for older children, where they focus on a specific author, reading multiple books by them, and learning about their life. And the only things you need there are the books by the author and the author biographies. And this will deepen appreciation for the author's work and writing style. And this way, they also learn something about the author's life at the same time. The next activity is interactive reading apps. Now, you can use different educational apps that offer interactive reading experiences, and there are many of these available on the internet. The only thing that you need for this is a tablet or smartphone, and of course, the apps that you're going to use. And the benefit of this is that technology can make reading more interactive and fun. Now, another fun activity that I'll also enjoy very much is where the children can create their own stories. This way, you encourage them to write and illustrate their own stories. The only materials you need for this is paper, pencils, crayons, markers, or whatever you want to use to create your stories. And this enhances the creativity and their writing skills while fostering a love for storytelling. Another exciting activity is book swap events. This has become a very integral part of time that I spent with friends in my personal life, where we have a cup of coffee together and swap books with one another and get the opportunity to read books without having to buy them the whole time. But this could also be good for kids. They can then swap the books that they have read. And you can make this an interesting event by creating swap tickets, saying who the book belongs to and who's borrowing it. And the benefits of this is that it provides access to new books without cost, and it also encourages sharing. Now, the last activity that I want us to look at is reading role play. Now, this is also a very fun and engaging activity where children act out scenes from books or create plays based on stories. Now, here you need a few things like costumes, props, and of course the books that you're working from. But the benefits of this is that it makes reading active and engaging and helping to bring stories to life. There are really so many different activities that you can do with your children to develop their love for reading and at the same time also develop their reading skills. Now, the last part that we're going to look at is to make sure that we have a reading-friendly environment. First of all, you need to designate a reading space. Create a cozy, quiet, and well-lit space dedicated to reading. Include comfortable seating like beanbags, cushions, or a small sofa. Ensure that the area is free from distractions, such as loud noises or electronics. The next thing to look at is to have accessible books. Have a variety of age-appropriate books within easy reach. Use low shelves or baskets so children can select books independently. Rotate books periodically to keep the selection fresh and engaging. Have a regular reading routine. Establish a daily reading routine, such as reading before bed or after meals. Make reading a consistent and enjoyable part of the day. Another important thing that we mentioned before, but I just want to reiterate, is to lead by example. Show your children that you value reading by reading yourself. Share interesting stories or facts that you read with your children. Incorporate various reading materials. Include a mix of books, magazines, comics, and even digital books. Choose materials that cater for your child's interest to keep them engaged. Interactive reading that we also mentioned earlier. Read aloud to your children and encourage them to read aloud as well. Discuss the stories, ask questions, and encourage your children to predict what will happen next. Once again, library visits. Regularly visit the library to explore new books and attend reading events or story times. Allow your children to choose books that interest them. Now, this is also a fun way, the next part, to develop their reading skills, and that is to create a print-rich environment, especially with younger children that are only starting to read. Label items around the house with words to familiarize children with print. Display posters, charts, or artwork related to reading and literacy. And the last point is family reading time, as we mentioned before as well. Set aside time for the entire family to read together. Share stories and discuss books as a family to create a shared reading experience. And this then brings us to the end of this webinar. And I hope that you found this information valuable. You are welcome to go have a look at the links that I shared with you and to have a look at the different products that we have available that will not only encourage a love for reading, but also help kids to improve their reading skills and reach their full potential. So thank you for taking this time to be here today. And I hope that you enjoyed this presentation. Bye-bye.